Welcome to the weekly Rebound podcast here on Google Hangouts. Man, Greg, it's the weekend of the big game. Happy Super Bowl weekend to everybody. Hope everybody has a good weekend. Hope whatever team that you guys are pulling for comes out with a win. Patriots fans, Rams fans. We got a bunch of those guys associated with Legacy Leagues. I know just off the top of my head, we got Lee, former Legacy Leagues player. He's a big Rams guy. I'm always seeing him on Facebook. And Rosinski, and I bet there's a ton of other Pats fans in the league. So a bunch of guys familiar with the league. It's going to be a big weekend for those teams, Greg. But before we get into even talk about the game, we got to be talking about these games this week, man. You ready for this pod?
No, yeah, I mean, I can't wait. We got a lot of good games. Some rival the Super Bowl, so let's get into them.
Absolutely, man. So let's start talking about it, man. Let's talk about the surprise on the rise this week. You know, only 3 games. There was a game that unfortunately was taken off the schedule because one of the teams couldn't show up. We will get into that stuff, but only 3 games wasn't a whole lot of people to go off of. So once again, doing a consensus pick, and a guy that if you're not familiar with the league, he might be a surprise to you. But if you are familiar with the league and you've been around, this guy definitely no surprise here, but a stud nonetheless. Who really had his coming out party for this season, Greg. So why don't you talk about a surprise on the rise for this week?
Yeah, it's a name we all know and love. If you've been a fan of this league for a while now, it's Brian Acevedo. And, he's one of the better players in this league. He's one of the better shooters. He's a consistent scorer. He sees the floor well. Once he gets his control down, you can really see him. He flows well in this league. He fits this league. And, I saw him play at WestCon for a lot. He played there. He was awesome on 10-foot. He's awesome on 8.5. And he's a big dynamic, and the Sportsbook team was missing. They were missing a dynamic scorer, especially with John Zervos not being there the past few days. And if he's going to go out and he's going to put forth 26 with, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, if he's going to keep doing that, then this Sportsbook team, sky's the limit for them. So Brian Acevedo is obviously our surprise on the rise just because, his pedigree. He's an all-star, first-teamer, second-teamer. And he's been in the big games. He knows how to ball, and he has a supporting staff around him, and they're all just as good as him. So the Sportsbook team's ready, and they're coming.
Yeah, it was just like he was a good surprise on the rise this week. In particular for me, when we were watching the game, one of the interns, Dave, who was watching it right next to me, said, "Dang, I really like this kid's game," and it really jumped off to me. Somebody like Dave or any of the interns or somebody who might just be stopping into in sports and they just watching the game. If you're looking at Acevedo for the first time, he really does jump off the page at you as someone that has some skill, and he has definitely the ability to go off for 30 on any given night. So he's a guy that he's a real X factor for that team. And if you're not paying attention to him, if you're not really looking at the Sportsbook team as a serious threat, as a serious contender, Brian Acevedo might be that wake up call. This performance this week could really do that for this team and propel them into a top tier team that everyone recognizes as elite and can really realistically come out of this league this year with a title. So definitely a great game by Acevedo, puts him on the map, puts his team right there at the top. Greg, let's talk about these teams at the top. Flint Tropics, man, they had another great showing this week, dude. They just continue to ball. Your boys, I don't know where Greg is going. He might be going to get the jersey. But the Flint Tropics, 89-62. Mike Bizzuto, 27 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds, and his boy Nick Japs, the number 2 option on that team this season, 17 points and 8 rebounds. Man, dude, they just balled out. David Armstrong had a solid game for the Chasers, 21 points, 10 of 12 shooting, and 9 rebounds, but his team really let him down, man. Listen to these shooting percentages, Greg. Other than David Armstrong, who was 10 for 12, you got 6 for 17 from Dom Langston. You got 5 of 18 from Jamal, 3 of 11 from Seabrook, 1 for 5 from Larry. Just all around an inefficient night from the field. Couldn't keep their team alive in this game where you had to be efficient as possible to keep up with the Flint Tropics.
No, yeah, Flint played well, on all fronts. And, I was a little worried going into this. Even Mike Bizzuto came up to me, joking me. He said I was a little nervous. But Flint did their thing. They did what they were going to do. TJ Gianni stays hot. Him and Mike Bizzuto are tied for 6th in the league in threes with 20 each right now. The only thing that I want Flint to, I'm always praising Flint. They're my team. The only thing I want them to improve on is turnovers. Shocker City's last in the league with 37. Flint is actually 5th. So if they're going to want to compete with essentially they're competing with Shocker as the number 1 team, and Flint is the number 2 in our rankings consensusly. We'll say consensusly a top 5 team by everyone. So Flint played well. They always, everyone, everything's working for this team, and this is their test this week against Shocker City.
Yeah, this game coming up is basically a little mini version of the Super Bowl before, or it will. This we're talking about it before, but it would be after the Super Bowl.
After,
So nonetheless, it'll be great games on back-to-back nights for us. So we're a little bit spoiled for that, right? But yeah, I'm looking forward to that game, Greg. Let's get into the next one, man. Sportsbook Nick Strong, another really good game. This was actually like super competitive. It was back and forth, a little bit of a roller coaster effect in terms of the score. Like Sportsbook was up double digits, and then Nick Strong came storming back in the fourth quarter and brought it to literally within the one possession game for a few minutes of time there in the fourth. But then eventually Sportsbook just broke it open. We already talked about it. Brian Acevedo, he balled. Dan Kokoros and Jeff Norco also balled. Dan had 23, Jeff had 16. And they've all three of those guys, Acevedo, Kokoros, and Norco, they basically combined for like 95% of the team's scoring. So when you got performances like that, you know, it really helps muffle the 20 points on 6 of 12 shooting to go along with 11 boards, 3 steals, and 2 blocks from Florentine on the other team. Wasn't enough to put his team over the top, Greg. So what you see from these two teams in this game?
I saw Sportsbook just continue to just have their way. I mean, I think you even said before the show that they essentially beat Nick Strong with 3 players. And,
Right.
You know, this Sportsbook team continues to be one of the better teams in the league. I mean, they impress in a lot of ways. I mean, they're first in the league in free throws made, but they're third in attempts. So it shows that they absolutely take advantage of the times they go to the line. And that's huge in this league if you can hit free throws. Meyer even came up to me the other day and he said, man, that's the one thing that would kill me in this league is free throws. And it is. And for Sportsbook to be that efficient, it's pretty damn impressive. You know, Jeff Norco in steals, he's last. He's 7th in the league. Like these guys are just all over the place in the stat sheet. They're a team. They all are on the same page. They have supremely talented players in Dan K, Acevedo, Zervos, Tyrell Holmes. And the weird thing is, all 4 of them haven't been at the same game. Acevedo, Holmes, Norco, and Dan all have not been at the same game together once. So I look forward to seeing what they look like with all of them there.
Yeah, 100%. And Zervos, another key piece for that team who was an all-star last season. So, you know, when all these guys, you know, make it to the in sports on the same night, hopefully around playoff time, this team's going to be very dangerous. And as well as Nick Strong. Nick Strong just showed that they could compete with any team. You know, we really admire the Sportsbook team for how good they are. And Nick Strong was right there. Able to win that game at chances in the fourth quarter, not just in the beginning of the game, like when everyone is close. They were close in the fourth quarter,
yeah.
And it slipped away from them. But at the end of the day, I think both these teams, 2 of the more physical teams in the league, and this was like a heavyweight boxing match. When these guys squared off, there was a lot of contact, a lot of big bodies, a lot of former football players on that basketball court. And I really had that type of feel in sports that night. I always want to say in the arena because in sports is basically an arena when it's massive. So, Greg, that was a good one. Let's talk about the last one. Like we said, unfortunately, there was no Moose game this week. Who they were scheduled to play was it Shocker City, Greg?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Gentlemen's Club obviously is out of the league.
Yeah.
As far as we know, so that their games will just continue to be buys. So the last game that we had to talk about, Greg, was Rim Breakers versus Young Kings. And the Rim Breakers, man, this was a game where you picked them and I picked the Young Kings, and you squeaked it out, man. 89-84, 5-point win over the Young Kings. I knew the Young Kings were going to make this a ball game. I knew they were going to hang tough and have a chance to win this, and I needed them to give me a chance in the pick-ems, but it's starting to slip away from me this season. It's looking like you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it this time. But Greg, this was a good game. Destin Simmons, 25 points, 7 of 14 from beyond the arc, and had a bunch of rebounds and steals, but not enough with Pooch having 22 and Bronson having 22, and they both did it on pretty efficient shooting averages. So, Greg, what you see from these two squads head to head?
I saw the Rim Breakers show their potential even without Joe McLeese. I saw them really take advantage of it and really, kind of see what they could do. I think the Young Kings, you saw Destin Simmons. I mean, he's quietly having a phenomenal year. He's 6th in the league in overall scoring with 116 points. He doesn't start. He is 2nd in the league in 3 points made, only 2 behind Mike Davis. And he's only 4th in the league in attempts. So it's not like he's jacking. He's hitting them at a very high rate. And that's what we see from Destin Simmons. He's a great player. He's just really a great player, and I think he's really starting to find his groove for this young Kings team. And I think they played really well against the Rim Breakers, but I think the Rim Breakers in the end just had a little too much talent with Rich Bronson, or as Meyer called him, Rich, what did he call him, Bronsolini or something? I don't know. But we got Pooch is just great, and you even got someone like Chris League balling out. You got Carl Fairfax doing his thing, talking his shit. This Rim Breakers team seems like they're trending in the right direction coming playoffs.
Yeah, just another team we talk about this. So I'm not trying to be redundant, but when they get all their guys, they have all their pieces, they're a different team. And so is the case with basically all the teams in the league, TMC, the Chasers, Sportslook, basically goes on and on. I feel like the only team that we don't talk about having to have all their guys is Shocker City, and that's why they're number one. You know what I'm saying? We also don't worry about it with Flint because consistently they have all their guys.
They have the guys, yeah.
And that's something that we didn't really talk about with that Flint team. Now that we're going back to it, Greg, we're done with the recap. Not that many games to talk about. Let's talk about that real quick. When I was watching that Flint Tropics game, it was crazy to me how there was a significant impact with just having people on your bench with a positive morale, cheering your guys on. You call a timeout, it's just like going back to a massive huddle. Everyone's high-fiving. They're all huddling up. They got like 4 or 5 people, not even on the team, on the bench that are all their close friends, cheering their boys on. They're showing up to their games. Like, that's just a camaraderie and a brotherhood that it really has an impact on the game. Because you look over at the Chasers, they literally had 5 guys. They were losing. So they're like, they got their heads down. They're arguing with each other. It's just like 2 different worlds, and it really shined a light on the effect that just teamwork has on a sport. It's not really just the talent, because you look at the talent on the Chasers team. Dominique Langston's a former Division I basketball player. These kids no slouch. They have the talent on that squad, but the teamwork just not meshing in the same way that it was working for the Flint Tropics. And I want you to speak on how that affected this game.
Yeah, I just want to shout out Joey for when he listens. I just realized I have headphones on, and there's no mic on these headphones. I'm feeling down. No mic. So, apologize for the quality, everyone listening. But what were we talking about again?
Talking about just the team.
Oh, Flint's depth. Sorry, I'm looking at Connor with this thing. I'm like, I don't got one. But yeah, I mean, it's just the best example is I was looking at me and Meyer were looking at the Chasers, and we literally got Jamal Jones on the bench on his phone, probably playing Candy Crush, or like, I don't know what he's doing, but it's just, and I can't blame him. It's hard, man. It's hard out there when you're getting run out the gym, and there's nothing you can do because they can sub in and sub out so quick. The rotations are so quick. Dom Miliaro can point to the bench and 8 dudes can get up. 8 dudes will go in. 8 dudes fit the offense. They know everything everyone's trying to do. They know when Mike Pizzuto wants the ball. They know when Matt Sears is going to block. They know when to foul. They're a well-oiled machine. They are a Ford assembly line. And that is what Flint is. They're not the most talented. Maybe they don't have Mike Davis. Maybe they don't have Deontay Washington. Maybe they don't have all these guys. Maybe they don't got all these people. But they're just a fundamentally sound and efficient team that doesn't take bad shots, plays smart basketball, and is also supremely talented.
Right. They have the talent. I don't think anyone's questioning their talent. Like you said, they might not be the most talented team. That might be probably is Shocker City. But like you said, that doesn't necessarily mean that the Flint Tropics aren't the best basketball team. You know what I'm saying? So, talent and the way that you approach the game are 2 different things. And I think that, the teamwork approach that comes in with the Flint Tropics, like you said, the way they sub out so many guys, always have fresh legs. And there's really no one's being selfish about their minutes in any way, shape, or form. Pizzuto's on the court most of the game because they genuinely want him to play most of the game. Guys are going to sacrifice their minutes to let Pizzuto play more minutes. And it works that way for everybody. Guys are conscious of the fact that Matt Sears is a defensive stud, and let him get his minutes and protect the paint for us. Let Japs come in and give us some scoring. Let Druin come in and posterize some people, get some bodies on his list. There's really a bunch of different guys on this team who can step up. Gianni comes in, can bang 6 threes in the matter of 2 quarters. So, you got guys all over their roster who could be deadly from different parts of the court, and that's what really makes this team scary, and it was a significant reason why they were able to, step up and have a blowout win over a Chasers team, which, like we said, Greg, is also very talented. So, with enough said on that, just wanted to point that out because this was a short week, and just a little bit of extra time on the recap never hurts. So, Greg, let's get into our next segment, buddy, and get into these power rankings. We talked a little bit about them before the show. They were pretty dang similar, besides one difference at the top. So let's get into them and let's share them with the people. I want you to start. Give me your 9 through 6, and then we'll save the top 5 for the second part.
So at 9, I got our boy Eddie and the Young Kings. Sorry, Young Kings, but I just don't. Destin's hot, but I just don't know if you guys have enough. Love you, love them. 8, Nick Strong, JJ Watts, baby, and my boy Linguini. 7, Moose. Y'all know how I feel about them.
Yeah.
6, Chasers.
Okay, so it's understandable. Greg's not a big Moose guy, but Moose, they've been banged up. They've been battered. They've been.
I feel bad for them.
Yeah, they really got the crap end of the stick this season in terms of their luck. A bunch of guys like just not able to show up for various different reasons.
Yeah.
And that took a toll on their team. Obviously, that when you come in with a roster and then your roster is starts falling apart and you're starting to fill in the pieces as the season goes. That's never easy. So it sucks to see them in this bottom tier. But yeah, I got them at 7 as well. I got the Young Kings at 9, Nick Strong at 8. Like I said, Moose at 7, and the Chasers at 6. So no differences with you, Greg. But yeah, it's just surprising to see them down there. But in terms of the Nick Strong Young Kings, I think those are the most interchangeable two in the bottom. But it just comes back to that Nick Strong win over the Young Kings. I think it was week 5. So at that point, that's deciding those. And that's that for the bottom part. So, Greg, let me hear your top 5, and we'll get into that one difference at the top.
All right, so at 5, I got Rim. Shout out my boys, Rim. Connor hates you guys. I love you guys. Keep that on record. Sportsbook at 4. Team. Excuse me. Sorry. I was reading Connor's rankings. My bad. I was like, whoa. Rim 5. Connor hates you. I love you guys. So, Run TMC 4. Sportsbook 3. Flint Goat Nation 2. Shocker City 1.
He calls them Goat Nation, but he doesn't put them at number 1. Something a little bit suspicious about that. But I don't know why Flint's not getting on you enough about.
You put him at 1.
Dude, I'm not Mr. Flint Tropics. I don't have the jersey. If they gave me a jersey, heck, I might be Mr. Flint Tropic as well. So maybe you're shaving the jersey a little bit, Greg. I don't know. But I got the Rim Breakers at 5. And then the difference for me and Greg is I have Sportsbook here at 4, TMC at 3, Flint at 2, and Shocker at 1. I think that TMC is the better team on paper, but nonetheless, I think Sportsbook has easily enough of talent to surpass them in the rankings, and they already showed that they could beat them in a game. So I know that's very justified to have Sportsbook ahead of TMC. It's perfectly justified. I understand every reason. And you can call me crazy, but I think that TMC with Reggie Stewart, Eric Langston, Eric Singleton, Hallie Miller, that's a team I would be willing to put my chips on. So that's why I got them where they at. Greg, let me hear your defense for Sportsbook.
Once TMC figures it out, sure, I'll move them up. Figure it out, guys. You are supremely talented. You are probably the second most talented roster in this league. If we had a debate, I'd say. Figure it out. You guys are way too good. Hallie Miller's way too good to be shooting 36. Eric Langston's way too good to be shooting 19. Eric Singleton's way too good to be shooting 40 from 3. Like last year, we were at 50, 60 from the field. You guys were balling. You guys were doing your thing. I don't know what happened. It's not like they're having a bad season. Like they're a top team in this league, without a doubt, and they could win the championship. I just know how good they can be, so I just want them to show it. And I think that Sportsbook is showing like potential that is like, wow, I've never seen this before. And I've yet to see their big 4 play all together.
All right, just another team like that. Would just say,
for real.
You show up, you're a different team. Like how many times have we said this? It's the case of legacy leagues and a bunch of people that are living real lives and have real life complications and all that stuff plays an effect on the league. We're not professionals, so we're not paid to play. So you gotta make ends do, and you got to try to show up when you can, and it's perfectly understandable when guys can't make it, but obviously it does suck for their teams and their teammates who who show up and unfortunately sometimes get their asses kicked because they don't have their best guy show up or something like that. So it definitely stinks in some aspects, but in other ways it gives guys extra run. Sometimes creates opportunities for other dudes. The next man up mentality. So Greg, speaking of next man up, dude, you might be the next man up in the championship. You're up 3 games in the pick'em. Let's get into the final, or not the final, but we're coming up on the final weeks here, in the regular season before the playoffs start. It's looking like you're going to walk away with the belt. I'm running out of time. I'm running out of games, and unfortunately,
I'll pick first in the games.
Yeah, it's a little bit chalky, but I'm definitely gonna. I was just about to say, you're going first, just so you give me a chance to at least try to make a comeback on you. But this could get ugly with my mentality going forward. So for week 1, Greg, Shocker Flint.
Look, I'm gonna get a lot of slack and I'm gonna get so much hate. Oh my god. I'm going Flint. I can't be that guy that's a fan of Flint and then they play a team and I'm like, oh, I'm going to pick them. Even though I think Shocker might take it, I'm going to trust that my boys from Flint, Michigan, maybe they'll trade a washer machine for someone, maybe Coffee Black showing up. I don't know. But I got to go Flint because I got to stay true to my squad. It's just I can't be that guy. I got to go Flint. I got Flint. Flint's taking it.
I love it. He's loyal to his squad in this aspect. He just got roasted in the power rankings. I wonder if that tilted him a little bit. He opened up the door for me to pick Shocker City with a chance to get a game up on him in these pick'ems. I respect it. I commend you for that, Greg. Flint Tropics, I respect the hell out of you guys. You guys could easily win this game, but you got to respect where I'm coming from here. I need to catch up to Greg. Shocker City, I'm picking to win this game. That's going to be a good one. All eyes will be on that game. I can't wait for that matchup, Greg. The next one, buddy, Young Kings versus Sportslook. Who you got?
I got Sportslook in this one. I bet you Tyrell Holmes shows up. I bet you Zervos, maybe he's back. Maybe they were sick or something. I'm sick right now. Everyone's been sick recently. So I just think Sportslook will really breeze this one. I think they're too talented, too much of a team. I think Destin will have a good game. I expect Eddie to hit a few threes, but I think the Young Kings, are just at this point they're looking forward to the next season.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to go against Sportslook in this one. Even with you picking them, I got to keep it close. So Sportslook is going to win this one, I would assume. But Young Kings, I like you guys. I wouldn't have picked you last week if I didn't like you guys. Just this is a tough matchup, so I'm going Sportslook. The next one, buddy, Nick Strong versus Rim Breakers. This one could be a little bit choppy. Like who are you picking in this one, Greg?
I'm going Rim Breakers.
Okay.
I think that McLeod's probably going to show up. I think the Rim Breakers are kind of riding a high. I think this will be a very close game, per usual with the Rim Breakers. But I'm going to go Rim just because I think in the end their size and athleticism outside of Tavar Pierce and Ryan Florentine will be the difference.
So I'm going Nick Strong here. The JK Nick Strong, baby, dude. They always compete, dude. They always compete. I'm praying to God, Jalen McLeese, dude. Just stay home. You're so good at basketball. You need to prove nothing to nobody. Stay healthy.
Yeah.
Show up during the playoffs.
Got my boy Bronson, Corey.
You're good, Pooch. Yo. My boy Bronson, yo. My boy Rich, low key.
Oh, they're your boys, but you didn't pick them.
In the league, co-Steeler fan. I love Rich. Dead ass, I love Rich, but I got to pick against Rim Breakers to catch up to you, dude. I got no choice. All right. Nick Strong and my boy the Sikio brothers are gonna go off. I got my boy Linguine. He's gonna pour some tomato sauce all over you guys. This is gonna be a great game, and I can't wait. It's gonna Nick Strong by a million, baby. Next one, Greg. TMC Chasers. Who you got?
I feel like you're gonna go Chasers, but I'm going TMC in this one. I think TMC's just. I think they're a better team. I think the Chasers. Look, Chasers are so talented, man. Those boys are bad, man. They're good, but I just got TMC. I think TMC is too much. I think TMC's heard me, and I think TMC's gonna come out hot.
I'm trying to go for the 1 week catch up to Greg. Chasers by a million, baby.
Oh my God! If you lose this week, it's over.
If all these teams win, I'm gonna be tied up with Greg.
Yep.
So I gotta go crazy, baby. Chasers over TMC. TMC once again. Eric Singleton, dude, just rest. You're so good. You don't need to prove anything. Seeding wise, you might get like matched up against the same Chasers team or something in the first round. If you guys keep sliding, Howie just could chill a little bit. Eric Langston, just go easy, relax. You don't gotta go crazy.
Oh my
Everybody
God.
on TNC, I just need them to just take it down a notch. All that like talk that you just said, figure it out. Like give it a week to figure it out, not this week. And hopefully I can make the miraculous comeback. Greg, what are your thoughts on my crazy pick this week?
I mean, it's bold. I'm up 26 to I'm 26-5. Connor's 23-8. So it's. I mean, look, the Flint Shocker game is definitely one that could go either way. Let's see. I'd say Shocker City's favored in that game. The Rim Breakers, Nick Strong, Rim's probably favored in that one. And then TMC Chasers, TMC's probably. So you're taking risk. I respect it. I like it. But again, all those games I could see them winning. So I could see a scenario where the last game of the night is one of these games, and that decides it.
That would be cool.
I can see it. I can see it happening.
So, I'm really looking forward to this week, and it's just right that we had a bunch of good games coming up. Right after the Super Bowl. So definitely, I want everybody watching to have a safe weekend. Everyone's gonna be a lot of drinking, a lot of driving around, Super Bowl parties and stuff like that. So everybody be safe. Greg, any final thoughts? Who do you got winning the Super Bowl, and what are you doing this tomorrow for the big game?
Winning the Super Bowl, I got Rams 38-31.
So you got the Rams beating the Patriots 38-31.
Yeah.
I like that pick, my man. I got the Rams too, baby. We gotta go Rams. Rams by 1 million. Protect the 6 for the Steelers, please. Protect the 6. That is sacred ground that I do not want to share with anybody. And I'm hoping that the Rams win by 1 million. For the score, undocumented, I'm gonna go 28 to 12. How about that? I'm going blowout city.
Damn.
So
Brady gets blown. Brzezinski, yeah. You hear that?
Greg, give your final thoughts to the viewers. Final farewell.
I just want to shout out, some people that don't get a lot of respect in this league. Ambasaccio is second in the league in total points with 140, only one behind Pratt. Shout out to him. Jeff Nurko, 137. He's right there. He's having a great year. Someone like Joey Zacco, 22 threes made. He's fourth in the league. Ambasaccio is right behind him. It's players like Matt Sear leading the league in blocks by 5. Someone who we think continues to get snubbed. Someone who doesn't get talked. Dom Migliaro leads the league in assists by 10 assists. No one talks about him as a passer. He's arguably playing like the best. We're talking about a point guard. We should have been talking about him as a point guard with 32 assists because he kind of is their guy who runs the ball up the court. Mm-hmm. David Armstrong's rebounding phenomenally this year. Leads in offensive rebounds. Eric Langston's killing on the defensive rebound board. Another great stat. Ryan Florentine's second in defensive rebounds. The Linguini is killing it out there. I just want to say, though, concerning Nick Strong, you got 4 people in the top 10 of offensive rebounds. That's because y'all are bricking too many shots. You guys are too good. Take that shit in and ball out because you guys are nice when you attack the board. And finally, I want to give a last shout-out to Chris Rzinski and Shocker City. I know y'all are going to be coming at me. Oh, I love Flynn. Win the game, and I'm ready for it. But I just want to say, all I want to say is I've always had Shocker ranked 1, and I get hate for no reason because all because I love Flint. All because I love Flint. So I have a challenge for Shocker City. Beat Flint by 20+, then to never hear me again talk about him.
So that's Greg's drop the mic moment. I think he's just trying to defend himself recklessly, and he knows he's in trouble. He knows he's got targets coming at him, and once this is seen by eyes, he will have his phone be blown up, and he's just nervous.
Yep.
He's trying to defend himself before it goes live. But
Oh,
Greg,
Lord.
my man's another great pod, another successful one in the books, man. Have a great weekend. Everyone that's listening, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening, staying to see, and follow us on all the social medias and all that good stuff if you haven't already. So everybody, once again, thank you. Have a good weekend. We will see you guys next week.